So this is interior services one, and we will see what are the things we had seen in the last session. We had seen about what is a potable water, and we had also seen about the water treatment processes. So how the fresh water that has been got from the sources, the main sources of fresh water would be um, lakes, rivers, ponds, streams, etc. So of the water that has been got from the source, how we are going to treat it and how we are going to use it in a proper way so that it can be used for a drinking purposes. So water treatment, in that I'm just going through a glance for you guys because we had already discussed about this topic in the last session itself. So I'm just going through a glance for you to just revise the content what has been taught in the last session. So in the last session we had seen about what are the different techniques that will be used in the water treatment process, that is screening, coagulation, flocculation, sedimentation, filtration, disinfection, storage, and distribution. Based upon these contents, I have also asked the Google form, and many of them has responded really well. And I'm really happy that you guys have listened to the topic. And some of them has taken the content from the Google and they just copy paste the content. I will not recommend you to guys to do that. So in your own terms itself, if you write the answer, that is far enough. Or else what has been screened in the PowerPoint, if you would have taken the notes, you can also use those definitions instead of just googling and just copying paste. It's not good. So before that screening process, we had seen about what are the different types of screens that has been used, that is fine screen and the coarse screen. So this is the PPT that wait. So this is the water treatment process we had seen. And water treatment is a process of removing the contaminants from the wastewater and the household water. It includes physical, chemical, and the biological process. So we are going to remove all the impurities from the water and we are going to get a clear water. So these are the different treatment process. So this flow should be the same for all the things. It should not be like mismatched. So the screening should be in the first, then aeration. Aeration, after that coagulation will be there, and that is missing here. And after that flocculation, sedimentation, filtration, disinfection, and softening. I hope everyone are clear with these contents, and I have also detailed explained in the last session. So we could just go through a glance. Screening is the one in which we are going to screen all the larger particles like plants, stones, animals, trees, everything. All the floating particles will be screened in the screening process. And there are two different types, that is coarse screen and the fine screen. Coarse screen will be having the spacing little bigger than when compared to the fine screen. So aeration is a process in which the water is brought intimate contact with the air. So when I'm going to make the water in contact with the air, that is called as aeration. So in this process I'm going to remove CO2 and H2S. So and after that comes the coagulation. Coagulation is nothing but I'm going to combine all the suspended particles by adding a chemical into it, so that so if a chemical is get added to the impurities, all the impurities get attracted to the chemicals and it forms a flock like thing, and after that the flock will be settled at the bottom, which will be collected later on. So the purpose of coagulation is thus to make the particles of bigger size by adding a certain chemicals known as the coagulants to the water. So I'm adding some certain chemicals into the water. I'm making the impurities a little bigger, and then it will be collected separately. So the flocculation is the process of removing the settled matter at the bottom, that is called as flocculation. So flocculation is the one which is going to be carried on based upon these factors, that is dosage of coagulants, feeding, mixing, pH and the velocity. So sedimentation is the one in which the tank is there will be an inlet and outlet. The inlet is the one in which the water is going to come inside, and outlet is the one the purified water will be collected afterwards. So when the water which is going to come in this way, and which will be inside this tank for like 24 hours, and after that when the water is like a lower velocity, when it is going to be really in a rest position for about 24 hours, and after that the water, pure water will be settled at the top, will be collected in the outlet valve, and the silt deposit, that is all the particles which is settled at the bottom will be separated, and it will be collected separately. So there are two different types in the sedimentation tank, that is fill and draw type, and another one is continuous flow type. In fill and draw type, I am going to reduce the velocity of water to a very minimum content, and in the continuous flow type, I am going to increase the velocity of water. That is the difference between these two tanks. So I am going little fast because these contents has been already taught in the last session. So in the inlet valve, when the water is going to come inside, which is going to hit the baffle wall, and which is going to go one after the other. So it is having a four segments. When it's going to travel like this, most of the sludge matter will be settled at the bottom, and pure water will be collected on the top. So for detailed contents, as I already said you, so the most prescribed author for the subject is Ramwala. So um, I, uh, I, sh- I searched in the net regarding that PDF content. I could not able to find anything. So if you guys could able to find, you guys can search and tell it to me. So the Rangwala, that is Water Supply and Sanitary Engineering. The book name is Water Supply and Sanitary Engineering. If anyone come to know the book and the author, let me know. If you could get the PDF of this um book, that is very good. So I will take the attendance, and then we will move to the class. Answer your attendance. Anupriti, Arun Kumar.
Ma'am.
Arun Kumar is present. Aisha Aisha is absent. And Deepak Deepak is absent. Flora Jensi,
Yes, ma'am.
Ari Prasad, Ari Prasad, Ari Prasad is absent. Hindu, Hindu is present.
Present, ma'am.
Jayaprakash Narayanan, Jayaprakash Narayanan. Jisha is present.
Yes, ma'am.
Kishore,
Yes, ma'am.
Kishore, Mritula,
Present.
Present, ma'am.
Mritula is present. Kishore is also present. Okay. Mohammed Mazid, Mohammed Tahir is present.
Yes, ma'am. Present, ma'am.
Yeah. Aim Sukesh, Aim Sukesh is
Present, ma'am.
absent.
Present, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Aim Sukesh is present. Raghavi,
Present, ma'am.
Romeo,
Ah, yes, ma'am.
Sandhya Chandrasekharan. Sandhya. Shan.
Present, ma'am.
Shan is present. Tafim. Tafim. Bhagidharan.
Ma'am, present, ma'am.
Valarmati is present.
Present, ma'am.
Yeah. And Vanshita and Vidyashree. Vanshita, Vidyashree. So I will dictate the absentees name once again. Anupriti, Deepak, Hariprasad, Jayaprakash Narayanan, Mohammed Mazi, Sandhya Chandrasekharan, Tafim, and Vanshita and Vidyashree. And filtration is a process in which we are going to remove all the suspended particles, flow from the water, and there are two different ways of filtration, and the different types is slow sand filter and rapid sand filter. Rapid sand filter is subdivided into gravity and the pressure type. So I hope everyone are clear with the content of filtration. So I have also asked the questions regarding the filtration and backwashing everything. Many of them has responded really well. And filtration is a process in which there will be a five valves will be provided, and this is the overall typical rapid sand filter operation, in which there is an inlet in which the water which is going to come, and which is nothing but in the RO process and a normal filtration process, everything we will be using the layer of sand and the layer of gravel. So a layer of sand and the layer of gravel will be provided when the water is allowed to pass through the sand layer and the gravel layer, when it is retained at the bottom. After all the impurities get clogged into the sand layer and the gravel layer, the pure water will be collected separately, and by opening through the valve 2, and we are going to get the filtered water. So in the filtration process, we are going to just use valve 1 and valve 2. So while explaining this rapid sand filter in a separate content, I have asked you in the exam point of view. So you're supposed to draw this diagram. So I have already said you, but if you're inside the class, I would monitor you guys whether you're drawing this diagram or not. Since we are learning in this in an online medium, so I want you guys to draw this one. So I have also shared this PPT. So refer to the diagram, and make sure you guys are going to have a separate notebook for the subject. I want you guys to draw this diagram, so that in the topic will be really easier when you are going to explain it by means of a diagram. In the filtration process, only valve 1 and valve 2 will be open, and all the other valves, that is 5, 4, and the 3, will be closed in the filtration process. As it is mentioned here. Open valve 1, this allows the influent to flow to water. Open valve 2, this allows the water to flow through the filter. During filter operation, all the other valves are closed. So that is valve 3 and valve 4 and valve 5 will be closed in the filtration operation, and all the other valves, that is 1 and the 2, will be open. So, so as I said you before, when the filtration process is going to continue for a number of hours, that is for one day, so the continuously the sand and the gravel layer will be filled with impurities, too much of impurities, and later on, if the filtration process which is going to continue, which will not be effectively removed with the impurities. So I am going to use some backwashing technique to clear the impurities that has been clogged in the sand layer and the gravel layer. So for using this for the black washing process, I will be inletting the water from the bottom to the top. Filtration process will be like this. So when you see this arrow mark itself, you could able to get it what is filtration. So the water will be coming like this. After that, when it will fed into the sand and the gravel layer, then it will be collected separately by means of another valve. So in the backwash filter operation, so the water will be fed from the bottom to the top. So that is gravel layer and the sand layer. So the wash water from the storage tank will be fed into the gravel and the sand layer, and then it will be collected separately. And you are not supposed to dispose it as it is. You are supposed to make some treatment after we are disposing this water, because it contains too much of impurities in it. So this is a pressure filter. It is the same as that of the rapid sun filter. Only the diagram is different. So then the disinfection. You guys itself know what is the common disinfectant that has been used. Chlorine is the one. It is a common disinfectant which is used to kill the pathogens and the microorganisms. It can be applied in the form of a liquid or a gas. Then softening process is the last process in which we are going to remove dissolved salts of sodium and calcium and magnesium salts. And these are some references I have mentioned here. If you want to learn deep about this topic, you guys can refer to this topic and you guys can learn. So only thing what you need to understand is the water treatment process will be carrying out by means of these techniques: screening process, aeration, after that coagulation, flocculation, sedimentation, filtration, disinfection, and softening. Then we will move on to the next topic. So how we are going to distribute the water after that has been treated properly. So the treated water, how we are going to distribute properly and reach it to the consumers. Consumers is ultimately we are the consumers. How we are going to get the water. So or a town or a city, how they are going to plan it and how the distribution thing, how it is going to happen. Different types of water distribution system. So there will be certain sketches mentioned here. So I will pass for about or 5 minutes போல something and the sketches மாதிரி வரும்போது I will just pass for 5 minutes and I want you guys to draw those sketches. Excuse me. The distribution of water means delivering the treated water to the user from the source. From the source, we are going to deliver the water. The distribution should take place in such a way that the users or the consumers should meet their demand of water with the sufficient quantity and the quality. Both is important. We should have the amount and the quality of the water. So the quality of the water, we have ensured that it will be undergoing some of the purification process, treatment process. So coming to the quantity, it can only be made in a proper way, so that if you are going to plan the thing in a schematic system in a proper way. So what are the different methods of setting water distribution system layouts? So different methods of laying out distribution system are as follows. That is dead-end system, grid ion system, ring system, and the radial system. Dead-end system, grid system, radial system, and the ring system. We will see what is the difference between each and every system one by one. So coming to the dead-end system, dead-end water distribution system, the name itself defining that it contains a dead ends in the pipe system. So the water does not flow continuously in the dead-end system. In this system, the whole pipe network is divided into several sub-networks. Those are mainly main line, sub-mains, branch lines, and the service connection. So at the center, That is the main line. So this is mains. After that, the main is subdivided into branch. Branch is subdivided into sub networks. So main, sub mains, branch lines, and the service connections. The first being one main line is laid through the center of the city. So this is the one. So through the center of the city, or the center of a city or an area, first one main line is laid at the middle. After that, submains are laid on each ends of the main line, and then submains divided into branch lines from which service connections are given. ஸோ மெயின்லேருந்து சப்மெயின் வந்து டிவைட் ஆகுது. சப்மெயின்லேருந்து பிரான்ச்சு, பிரான்ச்லேருந்து சர்வீஸ் கனெக்ஷன்ஸ். ஐ ஹோப் எவ்ரி ஒன் இஸ் ஃபாலோயிங் மீ. ஸோ first main is the one which is going to be laid in the center of a city of an area. From that we will just see this one tree alone. ஸோ ஒரே ஒரு ட்ரீ மட்டும் நம்ம கிளியராக இருந்தோம்னா மற்ற எல்லா ட்ரீயும் நம்மளே டிஃப்ரெண்ட் ஷேப்ஸை நம்மளே ட்ரா பண்ணிக்கலாம். இட்ஸ் நாட் அன் இஷ்யூ. ஸோ ஃபர்ஸ்ட் மெயின்லேருந்து there is a submain. After that submainலேருந்து B is the one that indicates branch. After that branchலேருந்து service connections. Firstly, one main line is laid through the center of the city or an area. Submains are laid on both the ends of the main line, and then submains are divided into branch lines from which the service connections are given. At every starting point of the submain line, a cut-off valve is provided to regulate the flow during repair work, etc. So at the end of the main lines, so main வந்து இப்போ நான் submain start ஆகும் போது there will be a service cut-off valve will be provided at the end. So இப்போ இந்த இடத்துல any leakage of the pipes, any damage of the pipes which is going to occur means, so நான் இதை மட்டும் the cut-off valve மட்டும் I will be closing the pipe to prevent the to prevent the wastage of the water. So I am going to use this cut-off valve to close the water supply to this entire branch, and after that, so certain repair works after it has been done, then it will be opened and then the water supply can be distributed evenly. So on the whole, this network diagram will look like a tree shape. So it is like a tree shape. So it is also called as tree system. That is dead end system, which is also called as tree system. This type of system is used mostly from the olden days, which are built in irregular manner without any planning. If I am not going to plan the village or a city like this in a proper layout போட்டு நான் ப்ராப்பராக நான் பிளான் பண்ணலன்னா I will be going for the dead end system. Since the planning which is not done in a proper way, irregular shapes of the trees can be seen in the diagram itself. So nowadays this system is not preferable. So nowadays we are not preferring this type of system, since the connection itself, which is like an irregular pattern for the whole area of the city or the any village. So I will pass for about 3 minutes. I want you guys to draw this diagram. So I will explain once again. First, we are going to lay the main from the middle. So only one branch, if you guys could able to draw, that is also fair enough. So first, in the exam point of view, you are supposed to draw the full diagram. So main, which has been subdivided into submain. After that, it has been divided into branch, then service connections. A cut-off valve will be provided at the end So to supply the water in case of any repair which is going to happen. So I'm going to use the cutoff valve to close the supply of water, and after that when the repair work has been done properly, then I will open the supply of water. So this is the ultimate tree system, dead end system, which is also called as tree system. So nowadays we are not using this system because it is really of an irregular pattern. So once again, I tell you, at the end of the session, that is half an hour before the session, at 3 o'clock, I will be floating a Google form in the chat box, and based upon what has been discussed in the class, will be asked as a question. So either you can take the notes in the, or else you can make a note of it, of all the contents that has been shared by taking a screenshot. So I hope everyone has drawn this one, at least one tree if you have drawn by completely understanding the flow of network, that is also fine. I will move to the next slide. So what are the main advantages and disadvantages? Pipes in this network can be laid easily. The pressure and the discharge in each pipe can be determined very easily and accurately, which makes the design calculations very simple. The diameter of the pipes of main, sub-main branches can be designed based upon the required demand of the population. So cost of the project can be reduced. Red-end system requires less number of cut-off valves. So based upon the demand, we are going to supply, and what is going to be the consumption of the people per day, we can design the diameter of the pipes. So main disadvantages is the pressure is not constant and very less at remote parts. Because of the dead end, water stagnation takes place, which results in deposition of sediment. To remove these sediments, more number of score valves are to be provided at the dead ends, which increase economy. If there is any damage occurs in the branch line, the whole operation should be stopped to repair that, which creates discomfort to the other users in the submain line. In this system, limited discharge is available for firefighting. So if any leakage which is going to happen in a um, branch line, so all the old system should be stopped. So ஒரே ஒரு branch lineல ஏதாச்சும் ஒரு repair which is going to happen means all supply for this network will be stopped by means of cut-off valve. That is a main disadvantage in the dead end system, which is also called as tree system. So next, coming to the grid ion water distribution system. So grid ion system also contains main lines, sub-main lines, and the branch lines. So but in this system, dead ends are eliminated by interconnecting all the lines. In the system, let dead ends in நிறைய இருக்கு. So there is a dead ends like service connections, branches. So in the மாதிரி இல்ல in grid ion system. In the grid ion system, there is no dead end in which all the system is interconnected by one after the other. Hence, the water flow continuously in the system without stagnating. So there will be a water flow continuously. So this system is called as interlaced system or reticulation system. It is more suitable for well-planned cities. So planning of the city, which is going to be done in a very good manner. So water distribution will be in a grid ion pan. So in that there is a main and there is a sub-main, after that branch. That's all. And the cut-off valves will be provided at the starting of the submains. So this is the pattern in which if I'm going to make the planning in a very good way, I'm going to um, follow grid ion water distribution system. So I will pass for about 3 minutes, and I want you guys to draw this diagram. So when you make sure that you are uh, you can able to get this diagram alone, you guys can expand it from the diagram itself. So it is like a rectangular thing in which main is divided into submain. After that, submain is divided into branch. So this system, which is also called as each and every system which has an alternate name. So try to learn that name also. That is interlaced system and reticulation system. Either of the name can be used to represent the grid ion system. That is interlaced system or reticulation system. We will move on to the next slide. So that is advantages and disadvantages. Water will flow continuously without any dead ends or sediment deposits. Head loss is minimum in the case because of the interconnection of pipes. The discharge will meet the required discharge for firefighting. So either two advantages and two disadvantages. When you write, that is enough. Repair works can be easily done just by closing the cutoff valves in that line, which is not affect the other uses. So every branch has a cutoff valve separately. So it is not like in the dead end system. So dead end system na the full system I should close it by means of cutoff valve, which uh, which which leads to some difficulty to the other consumers. But in this thing, so the only that area that can be made repaired area that can be made by closing the cutoff valve in that line, which do not affect the others. So disadvantages will be because of circulating flow from all the direction, the pipes used in this system should be in a large diameter and the longer depths. So the length of the pipes used in this system will be very longer since uh, s- there will be too much of interconnections will be made, and we cannot determine the accurate discharge velocity or the pressure in a particular pipe, so the design is very difficult. So laying of pipes will be done by skilled laborers, so we need some skilled workers. So the cost of the project implementing this project is difficult, and the cutoff valves required should be more in the system. So since each and every system has an individual cutoff valve, number of cutoff valves used in the system is greater compared to the dead end system. So next, coming to the ring water distribution system. So there are four different water distribution system, that is dead end system, grid ion system, ring system, and the radial system. So we had seen about the dead end system and the grid ion system. Now we are moving to ring water system. In the ring system, um, water can also be called as ring system can also be called as a circular system in which the main pipelines is provided around the city or an area, preferably. Um, for this main line, branch line are projected perpendicularly and they are connected with each other. So every street of the distributed area will get sufficient quantity of water. For a town with a well-planned streets and roads, circular system is more suitable. So this is a circular system. So this is the main in which full the full system which will be interconnected by means of mains, and after that submains and main line is divided into branch lines. That's all. So there are no submains, everything. So the full system which will be connected radially. So the direction of flow of aromas which gives you the direction of flow of water. So for this full area, the will be surrounded by the mains. After that, the branch lines will be dividing. So the continuous flow of water will be there in the radial water distribution system. That is ring water distribution system. So which is also called a circular system. So next we will move to the next topic, and we will see the advantages. There is no stagnation of water. Repair works can be done without affecting the larger networks, and the larger quantity of water is available for firefighting. And the disadvantages is longer length and the larger diameter pipes are required, and more number of cutout works are to be provided, and the skilled workers should be needed for the implementing this. So next, this is the last one, that is radial water distribution system. A radial water distribution system is quite opposite to the ring system. In this system, whole area is divided into small distribution districts or zones, and an individual distribution reservoir is provided for each distribution zone. The reservoir provided is generally of elevated system. From this reservoir, the pipelines are laid radially to the surrounded streets. As you see in the village sites and all, there will be a separate water tank will be provided at in a very elevated water tank will be provided at a maximum height, and from that the supply of water will be given to each and every street that has been provided in the village. So all distribution reservoirs are connected with the main line while is passing through the center of the city. This type of system is suitable for areas with the radial designed roads. So this is the one what I am talking about. A center main line will be provided, and after that, from the main we are going to divide the branches, and after branches to the submains. So it will be like a radial pattern in all the um, 9 directions. Radially, the distribution system will be provided. So there is a distribution reservoir. From that, branches will be distributed, and after that, from submain and then the mains. The water distributed with a high velocity and high pressure. Head loss is very small because of the quick discharge, and the cost of the project is more because of the number of individual distribution reservoirs. so radially the distribution will be like this, and you can take a screenshot of this and you can start drawing these four diagrams, and by that time I will just work on the Google form and post it in the chat box. So give me some 5 minutes time. I will just prepare that Google form and post it in the chat box. So before posting the questions, I will just go through a glance of what has been taught today. So after submitting the forms, we will just go to another topic and so different types of water distribution system we had seen about dead end system, grid system, and the ring system and the radial system. In the dead end system, the main which is subdivided into submain, after that branch to service reservoirs, and the cutoff valve will be provided at the end of the submains. This is the overall flow for the dead end system. That is main, submains, branch lines, and the service connections. After that, dead end system, grid end system, which is also called as interlaced system or reticulation system. So, which mainly contains of mains, submains, and the branch lines. So, after that, ring system, which is also called as circular system. Ring system, which is also called as circular system, in which the old system which is surrounded by the mains, and after that mains are divided into branches. And the radial system, a reservoir will be kept at the center, and after that the reservoir will be distributing the water from the mains to the branches and the submains. Mains, submains to the branches. It will be like a radial distribution of water. So I have floated a Google form. So I want you guys to respond to that. So side by side, I will be checking your responses. So it is like a ஒரு சிம்பிளான ஒரு question தான், easy. What has been taught, you guys have to answer.
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah, tell me, pa.
Ma'am, I opened the link, but it's asking you need permission. This form can only be viewed by users in
Okay.
the.
Okay, wait. I have
Yes.
just read restricted. So I have changed the permission of you. Now you can able to open.
Yeah.
Ma'am, resend the link, ma'am.
Yeah, okay,
No,
sir.
ma'am.
So I have sent it again. Wait. So it is like changing one. So I have restrict to the users in.
No, ma'am. It's still showing you need permission.
Ma'am,
What
open
about
ஆகல.
இப்போ சென்ட் பண்ணிருக்கிறது? லாஸ்டா AF5QHAJL னு பண்ணிருக்கேன் பாரு, அது மட்டும் ஓபன் பண்ணுங்க. You need not to open others too. So now it is okay.
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, thank you. The last one alone you guys open ma. Next, first two வந்து உங்களுக்கு access கிடையாதுன்னு வரும். The last one alone you guys open. So I hope everyone is working on that um, Google form, and I have asked only a simple questions what has been discussed now. So I've got the response from Flora Gensi and she has given all the correct answers. I'm expecting the responses from others. And I also got from Raghavi. And Arun Kumar has responded. So I've got from Mritrula also. And Romy has responded now.
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, I can't select multiple choices, ma'am. And
So many of
when I'm selecting the answer for the second question, I can't select
yeah.
the third question the answer, ma'am. Then the answer of the second question is gone.
So actually many of them has responded as all the multiple questions only. So what is your name?
Aim Sukesh, ma'am.
Aims push. So can you able to open the form once again? So once again you open the form and then you will
Uh,
submit. So every time you are facing this issue, last time also you said like this, yeah?
yes, ma'am.
So everyone can able to do. I don't know what. Try to click the link once again and try to submit it. So Flora, Jansi, Raghavi, Arun Kumar, Mridula, Romeo, Kishore, and Vakidharan, and Indu. I have got about 8 responses so far. 15 of them has attended the session today. I hope 15 of them has attended. What about it? Aisha is absent. Thank you, Vakidharan. Then I should get 14 responses from you. So many of them has responded really well, and since this topic is also easy, and I have also given the questions in a easy way, so response is really good. So everyone has given the correct answers, and I am still expecting others also to respond. So still I got 9, and 5 more I have to get, and then we will discuss with these questions, and then we will move to the next topic. So only Flora, Jansi, and Raghavi, Arun Kumar, Mridula, Romeo, Kishore, Vagidharan, Indu, and Alex, Jisha Alex. Remaining. So you guys are working on that. So what about Valarmati Vidyashree? You guys are working on that form?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. I will give 5 more minutes. You just complete and submit the forms.
Okay, ma'am.
So I have got the response from Shan just now. So summatively, by combining all this, I will be taking the assignment marks. It's not like I am simply collecting the forms and keeping it. I will be considering all these forms, and based upon your answers only, the marks will be given for the assignment. So the last session, many of them like there is an for the last session who and all didn't come.
Ma'am,
Yeah,
I'm still having that problem, ma'am.
aim Sukesh. So you keep the link and you try to submit, or else you have taken a screenshot illa. So shall I share the link once again for you?
Okay, ma'am.
I don't know for you alone is facing the issues. I think some technical error with your you're using mobile, huh?
Yes, ma'am.
So I don't know. So wait, I will try one more time for you and I will share the link to you. If again you're going to face the issue, so I can't do anything. And you just take a screenshot and send it to me. So
Ma'am,
Vagidharan,
actually,
yeah,
I
tell
can
him.
actually I can send you screenshot, ma'am. But I can't select the option, ma'am.
All the options you could not select. Ah.
Yes, ma'am. If I'm selecting the second answer for the second question, then I'm trying to select the third question answer, ma'am. But the second question answer is gone, ma'am.
But everyone has submitted. Shall I show the responses? But everyone can able to get the all the answers for that. I don't know whether you alone is facing the problem. So wait, I will share the link once again. If you could able to do, you do, or else we will see afterwards. Okay, va? Aim Sukesh.
Thank you.
Okay. For Vagidharan, you last session you didn't come, so I will share the form one for you. By the end of the class, you just fill it and send it to me. Um, so 13 of them has responded, and we will see the responses. So these are the responses I have got you from you guys. And what is the first question? So different methods of laying water distribution. Distribution system will be all the thing that is dead end system, gridiron system, ring system, and radial system. So many of them has given all the thing, all the other names of the as answer, but Mridula known as given gridiron system as a answer. It's not. It's wrong, Midrulla. You supposed to give all the things as the answer. All the four
Okay, ma'am.
different methods of laying water distribution system. Okay. In this dead-end system, the whole pipe network is divided into several sub-networks. That is all the main, sub-main, branch, and the service connections. So it will be like main, and after that, sub-main will be then branch will be there, then service connection. So all the four will be the answer for that. So again, Arun Kumar and Ridula and Romeo has given a single answer for that. So it's not, it's wrong. All the uh, four options will be the answers for that. So grid ion system is also called as both interlaced system or reticulation system. So many of them has given the right answer for that. Again, Ridula and Romeo has given a single answer. It's not like that. ஸோ இஃப் ஐம் கோயிங் டு ஆஸ்க் அ கொஸ்டின், ஸோ ஒரு ட்ரிக் இருக்கு ஓகேவா, அதை நீங்கள் மனசில் வச்சுக்கோங்க. இஃப் ஐம் கோயிங் டு ஆஸ்க் லைக் அ பாக்ஸ், ஆப்ஷன்ஸ் வந்து நான் பாக்ஸ் பாக்ஸ் மாதிரி கொடுத்தேன்னா மல்டிபிள் ஆன்சர்ஸ் இருக்கும்னு அர்த்தம் அதுக்கு. ஸோ இஃப் த ஆப்ஷன் விச் இஸ் we are going to select only one means that will be different. அது வந்து நான் செக் பாக்ஸ் மூலியமா தர மாட்டேன், மல்டிபிள் சாய்ஸ் மூலியமா தருவேன். that will be in the form of circle. So that is the difference between the question which is having a multiple answers and having a single answer. ஸோ இந்த மாதிரி நான் கொடுக்கும்போது நீ ஒரே ஒரு ஆப்ஷன் மட்டும்தான் சூஸ் பண்ண முடியும். பட் நான் செக் பாக்ஸஸ் அந்த மாதிரி நான் கொடுத்தேன்னா மல்டிபிள் ஆன்சர்ஸ் யூ கேன் சூஸ். தட் மீன்ஸ் அ கொஸ்டின் இஸ் ஹேவிங் மல்டிபிள் ஆன்சர்ஸ். So this small int for you guys. And the grid ion system, which is also called as interlaced system and reticulation system, correct? Everyone has given the correct answer. And the grid ion system, which is also contains main, submains and the branch lines. So everyone has given the right answer. And then ring system, which is also called as circular system. Dash is quite opposite to the ring system, radial system. So many of them has given 13 of them has responded. Only I think Aim Shukesh is having some trouble to submitting the forms. So okay, we will see to that later. And so I'm happy that you guys, everyone has responded, and hope you guys understood about the water distribution system. And now we will see one more topic. Just I will go through a glance, and we will see some of the important topics. And we will then end the session. And so your class ends at 3:30 only. So you're supposed to stay inside the class. One more topic I'm going to teach. Based upon the topic today, what I've taught you, next class I will be asking questions. So next is tube wells. So the water that has been stored in the underground, how we are going to pump it and how we are going to use it for our use. So this is the water supply scheme, and the water supply scheme which will be considering the main source of water where we are going to get it from the rain. So the sources of water is subdivided into surface and the subsurface sources. So Aim Sukesh and the Vagidharan, I will be giving you guys time after 3:30 also you guys can submit. It's not an issue that while taking class you doesn't need to work on that. Okay, you guys can listen to the session, and after 3:30 you guys can submit. It's not an issue. So water supply scheme is divided into sources of water. Sources of water is subdivided into surface sources and subsurface sources. Surface sources are provided, as the name itself it indicates, it is available on the surface of the earth. So like ponds, lakes, rivers, streams, impounding reservoirs. All the terms you guys would have learned in the 12th standard. Up to 12th in the science, you will be learning about these only. So it's like in the form of a scheme I have just mentioned you. And the subsurface sources will be springs and the wells. So wells are subsurface sources will be springs, wells, infiltration galleries, and the infiltration wells. After that, the wells are subdivided into artesian wells, dug wells, driven wells, and the tube wells. As far as in your syllabus and all, you will be learning about the wells topic detailing, and what are the different wells, how the tube wells that has been constructed, everything you will be learning detailing in the syllabus. And the tube wells which is subdivided into shallow tube well and the deep tube well. After that, the intaking reservoirs will be fed into the intake workers, and after that the treatment will be undergone. This treatment process I have explained you in the water treatment, that is aeration, sedimentation, filtration, disinfection, and miscellaneous treatment. And after that, distribution system, when all which is going to reach the distribution system, and then to the supply to the consumers. Ultimately, us we are the consumers, and this is a simple water supply scheme. How we are going to get the water from the surface or the subsurface, how we are going to treat it, and how we are going to supply to the consumers. The sources which has been divided into surface and the subsurface. So you just take a screenshot of this, or else make a note of it. I will also be sharing the PowerPoints to you guys for your references.
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah, tell me.
Ma'am, I submitted, ma'am.
You have submitted. Okay. Yeah, I got it. So these are the different surface and the subsurface sources and how that has been classified into. We will just see what are the important ones to be covered in your syllabus. So the water wells can be classified either open wells or the tube wells. So open wells have relatively larger diameter, generally 1 to 5 meter, and the low yields and are not very deep, generally 3 to 15 meter. Since these wells are constructed by digging, they are also called as dug wells. So in the open wells, which is nothing but கிணறு, நம்ம வீட்டில் எல்லார் வீட்லையுமே அந்த ஊரில் வில்லேஜஸில் we will be saying கிணறு, இதுதான் open wells which is called as in Tamil Kenaru. So we are going to get this wells by dugging. So that is called as dug wells, which is also called as dug wells. The walls of an open well may be either, so the internal lining, as you see the wells itself, the internal lining of the wells will be made up of brick or any nowadays stone masonry or the precast concrete rings also they are constructing the wells nowadays. So the internal lining of the wells will be made up of brick and also be used for lining inside the wells. So open wells is the one which is having a relatively lower depth compared to the tube well. Tube well will be of a greater depth. So a tube well is in the form of a long pipe with holes at suitable locations and which will sink into the ground, intercepting one or more aquifers. The diameter of a tube well is usually in the range of 8 to 60 centimeter. As compared to the open well, both the diameter and the depth of the tube well which is going to be greater. So the deep tube well can also have the diameter of about 600 meters. If the water which is not available in a considerable height, suppose of 3 to 15 meters of water which is not available na, இப்போ நம்ம வீட்டில் boring process எல்லாம் everything has been laid and we are going to pump the water. Nowadays the water is available which is of a greater depth. So நம்ம depth போக the salt content of the water which will be higher. That is the difficulty we are facing in the cities. Open wells can be either shallow open wells or the deep open wells. A shallow open wells drains its supplies only from the top of the upper aquifer, but a deep open well are those which rest on the impervious stratum and draws their supplies from the pervious water bearing stratum lying below the impervious stratum through a borewell made in a impervious stratum. I will just show a diagram so that you could able to get it what I'm saying. So this is the overall ground surface, and in that there is a shallow well. Shallow well is the one which is available at a considerable depth, that is 3 to 15 meter. So if a bore well, deep well is the one in which is present on top surface of the impervious stratum. Impervious stratum, there will be a pervious layer and an impervious layer present underground. So pervious layer is the one which allows the water to percolate into it. So pervious layer is the one which allows the water to permeable, impermeable. We can also say like this: permeable layer, impermeable layer. Permeable layer example is sand. Sand is the one which allows the water to penetrate into it. But the opposite of sand is impermeable layer is the one which does not allow the water to penetrate into it. That is rock, clay, everything will be coming under impervious layer. Pervious layer will be sand, silt, everything will be pervious layer. Impervious layer will be clay, rock, everything will be coming under impervious layer. If I am going to dug a bore well on top surface of the impervious layer and then the water that has been stored in the deep well I am going to collect, then that is called as deep well. So the water table which is available at a considerable depth and then I am going to pump the water, then that is called as shallow well. So open wells can either shallow wells or the deep wells. Just now we had seen this. A deep open well can be with a depth smaller than the shallow open well in the vicinity. So compared to the shallow well, the deep well will be of a comparatively a same height, but the layer of impermeable layer will be provided on the top surface of the deep well, so that the water which is not available, which can't be seen through our eyes, everything, and by means of boring technique only, we could able to pump the water and get the water for the irrigation, agriculture purposes, drinking purposes, everything, etc. These are the shallow and the deep open wells. This diagram which shows you the shallow and the deep open wells. So I will hold it for 2 minutes, and if at all some of them are taking notes, to just sketch this diagram. So next I will move to the next slide. So these are the simple pictorial representation which helps you to know about what is the difference between the dug well. A man is digging the soil, and one more man is by means of tripod is getting the sand upside, and this is the dug well. And driven well is the one in which I am going to drive the pipe inside it, and until it is going to reach the water stratum, I am going to drive the pipes one after the other. And the drilling is the thing I'm going to use some external uh, machinery for drilling the hole into the soil. So these are the three different wells, that is dug wells, driven wells, and the drilled wells. So dug wells. Arcing at the ground with a pick and a shovel is one way to dig a well. If the ground is soft and the water table is shallow, then dug wells can work. Historically, dug wells were excavated by hand shovel to below the water table until incoming water exceeded the digger's bailing rate. So the well lining will be made of stones, bricks, tiles, etc., and was covered with a cap of wood or the stone or the concrete. So that is the dug well. So we are going to dig the well by means of shovel and a pick. This is an old technique which has been followed nowadays. They instead of wasting a manpower, we can also use some machineries to just finish our work. So the man will be digging for a number of days, but the machine can do it in a single day. So driven wells are still common today. They are built by driving a smaller diameter pipe into a soft earth such as sand or the gravel. A screen is usually attached to the bottom of the filter, and filter out sand and the other materials. So this is the driven pipes and overall procedure that has been listed to you guys in the before slide. And what is the procedure? I will just read through it. So the drive point, well screen, drive point, and the joints must be structurally suitable to prevent the rupture during the driving of the well. Steel piping for driven wells shall be minimum at a schedule 40 if aids to driving are used such as auger, starting hole, or the water jetting, the annular space around the drive pipe must be sealed with the cement grout and the puddle clay. So it is nothing but I'm going to inject one after the other. These are the different pipes. So இப்போ நம்ம போரிங் நார்மல் போரிங் ப்ராசஸ் வந்து நம்ம வீட்டுக்கு முன்னாடி போர் போடுறாங்க அப்படின்னா there will be a number of casing pipes which will be inserted one after the other. So until the point which is going to be reached. So எனக்கு எந்த பாயிண்ட்ல வந்து water which is going to be reached means from till that point I'm going to insert the casing one after the other. So as you see in this picture itself, there will be a well point provided at the bottom and there is a coupling which will be attached one after the other. um, so I'm going to inject one pipe after the other pipe by injecting the coupling until it is going to reach the um, ultimate point. So this is the other diagram which gives the driven wells, and I'm going to by means of pumping the water I'm going to get the water from the ground. Just in the technique என்னன்றது when you guys get to know, you need not have to learn about detailing. So drilled wells, most modern wells are drilled which requires a fairly complicated and expensive drill rig. Drill rigs are often mounted on the big trucks and the drilled wells can be drilled more than 1,000 feet deep. Often a pump is placed in the well at a small depth to push the water to the surface. So this diagram which shows you the different water levels in the wells. There is a confined aquifer and an unconfined aquifer. So the term confined aquifer means so when the water which is going to be in between the two rock surface. So that is confined aquifer. So unconfined aquifer, and there is an water table well, and underground these are the different layers will be provided. And here is the diagram which also shows you the dug wells, gravel packed well, open wells, and the dry wells. So in this case, when the sea which is going to be present on next to the ground surface, when the underground water storage surface, so there will be an salt water intrusion which will be happening. So that is the case why we are going to get the salt water. In some of the cases, if you are going to pump the water to a larger extent at a greater depth, instead of getting the pure water, we will be getting the water that has been mixed with the salt content. So this is the reason for that. So dark well is the one which has been dug at a very smaller height by means of an hand, but the layer of the sand will be gravel and the gravel. So gravel packed one is the one which will be having a layer of clay, gravel, everything, and the open hole and the dry well, which is the one in which the no water is there. And there will be a saltwater intrusion if I am going to dig a bore well at a very large depth in which the water which is not available, and there will be a contamination of seawater to the pure groundwater that has been stored in the underground. So that water which is also called as brackish water. So the groundwater users would find life easier if the water level in the aquifer that supplied their well always stayed the same. So what has been supplied underground, the water which will be staying the same, then that will be easy for you guys to get the pure water. Seasonal variations in the rainfall and the occasional drought affect the height of the underground water level. Withdrawing the water from the well causes the water level around the well to lower, and the water level in the well can also be lowered if other wells near it are withdrawing water. When the water level drop below the levels of the pump intake, then the water will begin to pump air and then they will call as go dry. So these four wells, what I have explained you before itself by means of a diagram which has been explained here. So based upon the question what has been asked in the exam, you guys can go with that. If the question will be of different types of wells, you just have to write the different types of wells name alone. If it is going, they are going to ask about specifically about the tube well, everything, then you're supposed to write it in a proper way. So the water that has been available on the underground, how we are going to pump it and how we are going to use it for an irrigation purpose or drinking purposes. There are different methods. So in day to day we are using these different types of pumping methods to pump the water from the underground. That is jet pump system, submersible pump system, water system with cistern, and the water system with cistern. There are two different types. So jet pump system is the one in which there is a well available, and by means of pressure, by means of some motor, we are going to um, apply the pressure to the water and get the water upwards, and then we are going to store it in a storage tank. This is one more technique. The water that has been available on the ground, we are going to pump it and we are going to store it in a storage tank. Likewise, we are doing daily in our residential building. So, number residential building, we will be putting the motor and we'll be getting the water from the underground and will be storing in the overhead tank. The same way, we are using that system which is called as jet pump system. So next is submersible pump system. In that there is a submersible pump immersed inside the well, and there is a control box and the pressure switch and the pressure vessel or a storage tank will be provided. So the submersible pump will be fed inside the well, and after that by means of control box we are going to switch on the pump, and after that the submersible pump will be starting up and lifting the water upwards, and then we are going to store it in the different storage tanks. So either in the pump that I use panna, how I'm going to choose it is based upon my requirements, my availability, my cost effect, everything. I am going to decide which type of pump will be suitable for me. So next is a water system with cistern. Then I am going to pump the water, and after that there will be a cistern provided in the middle, and after that pump will be there, and then the pressure tank. So straight away வந்து நான் வந்து ஒரு storage tankல இது பண்ணாம I am going to pump the water, store it in any other tank, and then for usage I will take it. That is water system with cistern. So this is the another diagram which shows you the pressurized cistern. And in the villages and all, this is the one I have asked you regarding that radial supply. நம்ம இதுக்கு முன்னாடி different types of distribution system பார்க்கும்போது, this is the overhead tank which will be available in many of the villages and all. In the from these, this is called as main. From main only we are going to uh, supply for the submains and then submains to the branches. So like the same way, the distribution system will be there. And what are the different types of tubal strainer system has been explained here. So tubal is the one in which I am going to lay the number of tubes into the water, into the ground, until which is going to reach the water stratum. That stratum will be available of different types of tubals. That is, there will be a layer of pervious, impervious, pervious, impervious. As I already said you, the pervious layer is the one which allows the water to flow into it. Impervious layer is the one which is of a sand or a rock layer. So when I'm going to get the water from the strainer type tubal system, either any one of the tubal system I'm going to use. Here I have explained three of them, that is strainer type tubal system, cavity type tubal system, and the slotted type. So what is the difference between these three? We will just see. And in tube wells, a metal pipe driven in the ground is perforated to allow only the clear water to enter through the pipe. The best and the most commonly adopted practice is to provide a pipe with a fairly big perforation surrounding, that is a wire net or a strainer with a smaller opening. The wire net with a finer opening excludes the objectionable soil particles from entering the tube well. Total area of the opening in the metal tube in the strainer is kept the same. So it is nothing but strainer is the one which is going to filter all the dirt particles. So a screening process mari we had seen in the water treatment process, number floating particles, everything which gets clogged in the screening process mari, the strainer mesh will be provided at the bottom of the tube well. So in this process, the opening is the same as the velocity of the inflow will be the same. And some of the specifications has been mentioned here. The best and the most commonly adopted practice is to provide a pipe with a fairly big perforations and surrounding that is a wire, net, or a strainer with a smaller opening. So the opening of the strainer should be smaller, and the uh, pipe should be in a bigger one, so that the water can be pumped in a very good manner. So another one is cavity type tubal, in which so the clay layer is the one that is of impermeable layer, and the sand is the permeable layer, which will be um, in the underground, and this is the one which is going to form a cavity shape. So in this type, water contribution to the borewell takes place through the bottom layer only. It drives the water from the permeous layer underlying the add impervious layer. The tube well is taken down till it penetrates the impervious um, or the mortar layer reaches the water bearing layer. In the initial stages, when the water is pumped out, fine sand comes into the tube well with the water, and consequently a hollow cavity is formed at the bottom. So first, when I'm going to get the water, all the sand particles which are going to form a cavity like this, all the sand particles will be pumped, and when there is no sand in this layer, a cavity will be formed. That is a free space will be formed at the bottom. The bottom of the cavity for some thickness is then made free of finer particles. So after the cavity formation, only clear water enters the tube well, since the rate of pumping is more. The velocity of water entering the coarse sand layer is critical, but when it comes to the hollow, the velocity is reduced. Finally, the water enters the tube well at the bottom with the velocity lower than the critical velocity. The main difference between the strainer and the cavity tube well is that the former inflow is radial, whereas the former inflow is radial, whereas the it is a spherical. So it will be of a radial. So strainer type வந்து straight இருக்கு, but cavity will be of spherical. That is the difference between the um, strainer type and the cavity. Then another type is slaughter type, in which there will be an air pipe which will be provided by means of pumping the air inside the tube well. We are going to lift the water upwards. So this topic is somewhat little vague to you guys, because there will be too much of theory content provided, and many of the pictorial representations I have mentioned for your uh, convenience. And today we had seen about this is the overall water supply scheme, and we had seen detailedly about duct wells, driven wells, and the tube wells. And the tube wells, we had seen about different what are the different types of strainer tube wells, and cavity tube wells, and the slotted tube wells. These are three different types we had seen, and the duct wells, driven wells, and the tube wells we had seen. And what are the different layers that has been available in the underground, like pervious layer, impervious layer, everything we had seen detailedly. Since this is by means of online medium, so some of the diagrams I want you guys to draw for sure. That is, in this class we had seen about the different types of system, like dead-end system, radial system, and ring system, and one more thing is grid ion system. Everything we had learned, and I want you guys to draw the diagrams, and I hope everyone is maintaining a separate note. It's not like that you are just seeing through the PPTs. So some of the diagrams you are supposed to draw it for sure, And in the next class we will be seeing about different types of pumps. In that I have mentioned only the diagrams alone, not the procedures and all. I will just based upon the diagram what has been shown, and I will try to include some of the uh, videos to you guys, so it can be made as a little visual thing for you how it has been carried out. So next class I will work on that. And I want you guys to draw these important diagrams which has been shown to you. If I'm going to tell you, you just draw this one, you're supposed to draw that. By the end of the session or by uh, before the cat one, I will be checking through all your notes. So those who haven't attended the first form, that is inter services first form, those who haven't submitted, those can work on that. And so shall I share the screen regarding the types of distribution system? You are having 10 more minutes. If anyone is interested to draw those diagrams, can use this time. So the dead end system, everyone, I want everyone to draw this one. So if at all, if you're going to draw this one, the class itself, it will be easy for you guys in the exam point of view. So this is the one shows you the dead end system. So okay, all the four everyone has drawn completed. That is all the system everyone has completed drawing. Grid and water distribution system. So we are having 5 more minutes. So just draw these diagrams and then we can leave the session. So this is a grid ion water distribution system, and after that, this is ring system. Okay, fine. I hope so. Bhagidharan has Salon said that he has completed drawing, and